UFC 279, Petr Yan, I should say, versus Sean O'Malley. Or Piotr, or whatever I'm saying. Everyone's trying to have a stab.
I can't say it like that. I'm just saying Peter.
Yeah,
Heads up. I can't say it properly. I'm just going to say Peter.
We'll just Gronka fight and turn it into the Aussie sound. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm thinking about this one, man, you know, Sean O'Malley's super confident, man. And all I'm thinking is, like, you watch that Sandhagen fight, and I'm just imagining Sean O'Malley and his coach sitting there watching Sandhagen fight Petr Yan, watching that first round and thinking, we got this, bro. This is fucking me. This is me. I fucking keep the range. Yep. No, I got switch hitting. I move good. You know, I can stay away from him. So they watched that and they thought, fuck, we got this guy. That's what I'm thinking. I think they maybe a little bit overconfident just from watching that, because he's not Sandhagen, eh? But he's a good stand-up fighter. But that's what I think they're thinking, because they said he's been trying to get the fight he wants, and then finally it's materialized. What do you reckon, bro?
I'm just trying to have a look, because it's probably going to be 3 rounds, you reckon, hey?
It is, 100%.
I can see a path to victory with Sean over 3 rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Jan's a slow starter, so like he almost always loses the first. So you only need to bank the second or the third. And let's be real, like, yeah, as dangerous as Peter is, he's not like a huge, massive finisher in 3 rounds. Like, guys who want to stand there and trade with him, he can knock him out, sort of thing. But was it the Lineker fight I'm thinking of, where it was legit almost 4.5 minutes each round he was losing that fight, and then in the last 30 seconds he clipped him and rocked him and then won each round like that. So he's a slow starter. I think Sean's style early can, especially playing into that first round, really get some reads and try and get that first one. Then you only need to win the second or the third round, and then you've won a fight against the number 1 rank. So like, I think it's definitely hard for Sean, but like, fair play. I think they did it smart. Like, you don't want to fight Peter on a 5-round main event at the Apex or something like that. You want a 3 round where you can get in, get out, and sort of try and use your flashiness to sort of stun him a bit and try and win it that way.
Yeah, that's what people are saying, exactly that. This is like, you look at the guys in that division, that's the best guy for him to at least have a go with, right? Like a shorter guy, he's been training for that already. He just had a good fight, didn't get too hurt in it. I mean, and now he's going to fight a guy that he's watched the path to victory. He's seen it in Sandhagen. That's his path to victory, exactly what he did, which is maintaining distance, which he has, using his punches and kicks, use his movement, use his switch hitting, you know, use body kicks, use angles, and stay away from him pretty much. But it's not as easy as it looks, I think, you know, like it's a nice strategy, and he has a path to victory. Mm-hmm. But I think the odds kind of represent what the actual result will be.
Is it about 4 to 1? I think last I
saw 4.05 to 1 on the Australian side compared to 1.23 to 1 for Petr Yan. And I think it's like there is a path to victory for him, but it's going to be a hard thing to do, eh? Like, goddamn, I was watching him. Goddamn, he hits hard, man. Like, you know, if Sean's got any chinks in his armor and he gets smashed, like, then we'll really see him tested, right? Like, he hasn't really been tested. And I always draw back to that fight that he had before where he went down and he sort of looked like he gave up when he fought Cheeto. And I always go back to it, and I feel like he doesn't have the heart of some of these guys. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We might see that tested, eh?
Yeah, like, I get what you're saying, because I think he will, but the way he went down, sort of thing, it was like almost like he accepted it, sort of thing, where you see other guys really get that little bit of, like, Anthony Spiff's like a perfect example where he's like Jimmy Crute, my bad, against Anthony Smith, where he got his leg and he's trying to walk through it and like, no, I'm good. Like, you can see him falling over, get himself back up, whereas Sean hit the deck and just sort of stayed there, sort of thing. But I think stylistically, like you said, it's not a great matchup for Sean too. Anyone in these top 5s are dangerous. Like, and the thing is that Peter does have that good wrestling pedigree. Plus, he also has that forward counter pressure where he sort of likes to like walk high guard, gets his read early. So unless O'Malley can overwhelm him with a lot of looks, I think Peter's going to get the reads early, and he's going to start to chop the legs early too, because he likes to come into that short range. And I know we can't really say it's a weakness, but the biggest hole we've seen Sean in fights is his legs, just because the sort of size of him for a bantamweight, like his legs do get kicked out from under him, sort of thing. And then even in his last fight, Pedro was targeting them. So yeah, I think Yan is definitely trying to walk forward, hit the legs. And I think in the clinch situation, it's going to be interesting too, because we saw Peter throw Sterling around, and Sterling's meant to be this sort of jiu-jitsu wrestling wizard. Peter made him look like an amateur and all these sort of scrambles that. So yeah, it's a fun matchup though. Like, and fair play to Sean for taking this, because like I sort of think is like Sean O'Malley goes from fighting Chris Munoz to Petr Yan in a year. Like, it's a fair point. Like, he talked about he would fight anyone once he gets paid enough. So obviously they're paying him enough. So I'm excited to see it though.
Yeah, man. You talk about Yan too. So like you said, those calf kicks are key. He smashes them in. He does nice body kicks. But I think the main thing that'll help him is that pressure. If he can turn up his pressure earlier than he normally does. If you watch Sugar, he likes to work at his own pace, which is a little bit slow. He stands on the outside like a game of chess. That's what he likes to play. And it's a different game. Once Peter gets warmed up, he plays a different game. He just puts the constant pressure moving forward. And that's where he might be able to catch O'Malley. If he stays back and plays that game of chess, then Sean's going to have that chance of landing something nice or just keeping him at distance. But if he just pressures and doesn't let him get his ground and play his game, use his distance and just give that forward pressure, fast pace, I think he could pretty easily take him, to be honest, and catch him with something, either knock him out, put him down and hurt him on the ground, or knock him out standing even, man. We haven't seen him really today.
Yeah, I also think because the size discrepancy between the two, I think we're going to see Yan really target the body and the legs. And like once the legs start to go like from damage and that, where they're not as under him, he's going to start to exploit the body, and the body's going to obviously exploit the head, because like Jan's super, well, I guess, yeah, he is super smart, but like his game plan for the last fight wasn't the best sort of thing. But Sterling did have another good game plan. But like he will come out early, and he'll just sort of chop down the tree sort of thing. He's not going to go out there looking to land big 1-2s on Sean and plays into his range. He's going to, like I said, pressure him. I wouldn't be surprised if Sean's probably going to try and come to the center and hold the center early, but I think he might have a minute or two where he actually controls it. But I think after that, Jan's going to get some reads and really start applying that pressure. And once we see Sean on the back foot, because Yan is so defensively sound when he comes in, I think it's going to be hard for Sean to actually create them opportunities, because he loves to do his fakes, his looks, and makes it look real flashy. But Peter's just going to be there, hands up, just walking him down in his face the whole time sort of thing. So, yeah, it's maybe like you can see like what Sandhagen tried with flying knees up the middle and big spin techniques and that. But I honestly think Sandhagen has a bit more sort of like, not so much flash, but probably more power and explosiveness behind them, sort of more, yeah, I guess you would say explosive dynamic techniques sort of thing. Whereas Sean flicks them and they look like they sort of whip and hurt, whereas Sandhagen, like you see like this big force behind him sort of thing.
Yeah, I was thinking watching the two, that was one thing. I think O'Malley has a little bit more speed than Sandhagen has. Like his punches and that just seem a little bit faster, maybe a little bit crisper. So I think that's something he has, but I don't know if he's as tough. I don't know if he's as well-rounded, because we just haven't really seen it. And whereas Sandhagen, you see him with doing everything right. Like he does everything well. Yeah, man, what do you reckon? What's your final call? What are you betting the house on this one, considering the odds as well?
Okay, if I was betting, I can see Sean by decision, purely because Yan tends to take that first round off, and you don't want to be in a 3-round fight having to lose the last 2 rounds. Like, even though, like, even just comes down to judging and that. If like gun to my head, who I think's going to win, I'm going to pick Yan. But I'll be honest, I'm probably going to chuck some money on Sean O'Malley for a decision, just because how it's paying. And I do think there is like that, not likely, but there is a path to victory for him there. If Yan takes the first round, not necessarily takes it off, but if he starts slow, then I can see O'Malley get him at first. Maybe it's close in halfway through the second, and the second round's that sort of swing round, and then the third round goes to Peter, and you might have that controversial decision. But I'm just going to go Sean for the upset, I think. Like, probably going to come back and bite me, but I think they're smart. I think they've done it for a reason in 3 rounds. 5 rounds wouldn't even like give this idea any sense, but 3 rounds, I'd put some money on Sean, I think.
I think UFC will be praying that Sean wins, because he's a massive draw card. He draws nearly more than everyone. He's on massive amount of money now. Someone said he's on, I can't remember if they said 300 or 600 to show. Someone mentioned that, plus the winning money. So it's good for a guy that hasn't really had any high level fighters. That's what
shit, eh?
I can't remember who said that. I think it was 600 to show. I think they were confused. Whoever was saying, they heard it was either 300 or 600 to show, which is still good for his level. And but I'm saying, for me, I think Petr Yan. I watched the two just reviewing before we talked, and I'm just thinking, when I look at them, I just think like they're 2 classes apart, man. It's like an A grade versus a B grade fighter in my eyes. But yeah, let's see, man. I think probably Petr Yan by some sort of finish, and I reckon probably a KO. Yeah, my call.